you need to carry is that things don't fail with you. But things also will not work by chance. For things to work, you must work them. So if it means staying up all night, you will stay up to make it work. This is why every wealthy man in the world sleeps late and wakes up early. Because there is too much to do. Why ordinary men are looking for money, wealthy men are looking for time. Because time is never enough. They go to bed by 1, they wake up by 3. I heard that Jeff Bezos wakes up 3:30. Warren Buffett, over 80 years old, still wakes up by 4 a.m. Mark Zukerberg wakes up by 4 a.m. You will use alarm until it becomes part of your life. Carlos Slim wakes up by 3:30 a.m. and they have kept this schedule for more than 10 years. These are children of the world, but they understand how this realm works. That when men sleep, leaders stay awake. The reason they are able to lead their generation is because they are awake while others are sleeping. So this is why wealthy men don't even work for money, because they send their money to work for them. Why they spend their time thinking? So you don't need to be awake doing anything. Just be awake and set your mind on a vision. After a while, the boundary of your mind begins to open, and in a short period of time, Makurdi will become too small. And then you are saying, no, now this thing we want to do, Makurdi is too small. How do we take Benue? And after a while, your mind enlarges again, and you come to a point to say, no, now we have to gather all the youths in Nigeria. How can we be talking Makurdi? Come on, our government is failing. People are being attacked. Headsmen are all over the place. How can I mobilize all the youths in Nigeria? All of a sudden, you remember your friend from Enugu, you remember your friend from Kano, and you begin to call them. Let's have a national youth summit. And they are saying, how will it work? You say, don't worry. Why won't it work? You, who and who do you know? And before you know what is happening, you who was thinking Makurdi, now you start thinking Nigeria. And in a short period of time, you gather youth from 36 states of this country. And even the president's attention will be drawn to it. Because any man who makes impact commands the attention of kings. But it begins with enlargement of the mind. And the way to enlarge the mind is to invest in time, not clothes. Is to invest in time, not shoes. Task this brain and get it to think. Leave those your friends that distract you with unnecessary gist and gossip. Go and sit alone. Make it a habit to sit alone. You may not have an executive suit to sit. Go and sit under a tree. And if you don't even have a thought, tell God, give me something to think about. I must make a change in my world. They may call it ambition. It's a notable ambition. There is nothing wrong in having a good ambition. Every man that lacks ambition is already dead. But your ambition should not be selfish. It should be something that includes others. And then your ambition will be worthwhile. Go and sit somewhere. When people go to bed by 10, that's when you wake up and stay alone. Put the Facebook aside. Put the YouTube aside. Put the WhatsApp aside. And think. That's this man. Put your alarm and begin to wake up by 4 a.m. When you wake up, go and take your shower. Don't wake up and lie to bed and sleep again. Go and take your shower. Dress up. Very well as if you are going out. You will discover that everywhere is quiet. The reason everywhere is quiet is because only you are leaders. Their followers are still sleeping. But leaders stay awake because they need to command their own. And before followers begin to wake up, leaders are already worked for many hours. For many hours. That's how we do this work. We do this work by increasing the capacity of our mind. It's not just by praying the Holy Ghost. It's by thinking and thinking too. We do this work by hard work. At this level, you should be reading the first exam. That's the level of an average student. You come to school, you have many things to do. So by first month, you have recited everything about your lecture note. How many pages are your lecture note? Your lecture note sometimes are 10 pages. And you are doing 8 courses. 10 times 8 is 80 pages. Your mind can't retain 80 pages. Then you can't take your word. In 1 month, you recite everything in your lecture note and throw it away. Tell the lecturer anywhere he wants is to check questions from. Do you know why most of the greatest billionaires in the world dropped out of school? It's because the exams were too cheap. The lecturers were boring them. When Bill Gates was already designing softwares, they were teaching them low programming language. You want him to sit in that class and be hearing ancient programming language when he's thinking of a new software that will change the world. It was boring to him, so he left. So before you say, exam is not easy, you think it's easy. Even billionaires left school. They didn't leave school because they failed the exam. They left school because school was boring. They knew more than the lecturers. They were students, but they knew more than their lecturers. While the lecturer is still talking about basic programming language, you are already doing complex algorithm because you were going for lessons on YouTube. And then what the lecturer is doing, you go, no, you didn't put this dot here. Okay, no worry. You are still reading books. Leaders are ahead of their generation because they work hard. If your phone is not a research institute, then your phone was a waste. It's not just a device, it's a research institute. You can study many courses on YouTube while you're on your phone. Instead of you to be thinking of how to prepare acid and base, they taught that thing in 1940. That's what you are still learning. And you think you can create a change in 2020. No, you leave that level for those who are still reading above you. And then you go on YouTube and find out what are the evolution. That's how leaders lead. They work very hard. Very, very hard. Can I surprise you? Bill Gates slept in his office because of hard work. Jeff Bezos slept in his office because of hard work. Carlos Slim slept. Most of these wealthy men, they studied and worked until they slept, woke up. For many years of their lives, their study room was their bedroom. Most of these guys kept close to 16 hours of working every day. That's why today, even though they are billionaires, they don't remember. It doesn't occur to them that they are billionaires. They have forgotten about wealth by pouring themselves into their vision. Meanwhile, you have not yet bettered the vision to even walk upon. And you say you will change this world. You will go nowhere. We have a lazy generation who can't even read a notebook. A lecture note of 15 pages. You can't read it. And you are talking about going into the world. What are you doing with your time? Laziness. They sleep for 8 hours in a day. They talk with their friends for 4 hours. They are on Facebook for 4 hours. At the end of the day, in 1 week, they spend 30 minutes reading. That's why even when they are 30 years old, their knowledge is 5 years. Everything they don't know, they are asking questions because they've never invested in themselves. You can't change your world just by praying. They will change your world by imbibing value systems that have no regard for a Christian, a Muslim, or a pagan, because they are universal laws. And one of those laws is hard work. You may not have a vision you are working on now, which is very bad, but at least you should have mastered all your lecture notes before exam comes. At this level, you should look at your lecture notes, and because of what the teacher is teaching, you can predict where he will set questions from. You have so mastered the lecture note that your teacher himself will be careful when he's coming to class, because he knows if he makes any mistake, he will know. Those days in UDECHUKWU, there was a young guy called Fado who was in mechanical engineering. They say one of their hardest courses was fluid mechanics in 500 level. Every other student had a C. Fado was scoring 96. So they could not even moderate the result. His mates began to hate him because he was far above excellence. It took hard work. Many nights they are alone with their book when others are sleeping. That's how you go into all the world. There are many people today, they have been Christians, they've not even as much as read the Bible. But the message they heard an apostle preach, they come somewhere, walk like the apostle, act like the apostle, and preach the message, and they think they'll go anywhere. They are crying now that government is failing. What do you know about leadership? You should go online and study. How did the first world nation, how did they come about becoming first world nation? Where were they 20 years ago? What did they do? You are already thinking innovatively. So you are not a burden to your generation. They know nothing. They call you now to give a speech where the governor is sitting. You begin to stutter. And then you say you want to change your world. You gather your friends who you know more than 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And when you talk, they say, oh boy, you are good, you are good. And then you are walking like this. You say, God has helped us. With your 5 friends, and all of you are mediocre. Meanwhile, the world we are talking about, there are kings that you must address. And then you come for service, all you are looking for is impartation. Impartation that will not translate to nothing. You say you are a law student. By now you should be reading law reports, not struggling to pass exam. This is how leaders grow. Men who change their world. This is how they function. While they are in the university, they know all their errors can be tolerated, so they make all their mistakes. If you go to many advanced nations, it's in the university that most of the innovations come out from. But in our own universities today, it is failure upon failure. We are hoping that when we get a job, we'll be in internship for 8 months before we learn how to use bulldozer. Before we learn how to use clipper, we'll go on internship. Meanwhile, our mates in other nations from high school, they are already designing the softwares that we use in our phones. And then when we come for conferences like this, everybody, we think it's all about praying in tongues. You are bereft and bankrupt mentally. You can never change your world. How many of you here are eligible for scholarship? There are many scholarships to nations that can profit you, but many can't even qualify. So even the things that are free, we can't qualify for them. How can we go to a world of competition and survive? On campus, you have a scholarship for free master's degree, free PhD, just to pass your exam. You can't win the scholarship. Is it in the world where everything is competed for that you will succeed? Because we lack the culture of hard work. Very simple values. If they even say there's a meeting by 4, the leader comes by 5:30. And every day, no meeting can hold. And he thinks he wants to succeed. Many people come for you to impart them. They say they want the grace to carry. Do you know how many times you travel in a week? Do you know the diligence it takes to minister to thousands of people 3-4 times every week? And you have been doing it for 3-4 years. You don't have an idea how many places I've ministered before coming here. And as I'm leaving here on Thursday, I'm going back to Numa to minister in a crusade. On Friday, I'll be in Ghana. As I'm returning from Ghana, that's how I'm traveling till November. I don't have any free weekend as far as I'm concerned in the last 3 years. I've not had any free weekend. And intermittently, there were weekdays that I also have to travel. You think it's now that I'll come and read? And then you think you will step into things by impartation. I've been talking to you for close to 2 hours. I've not consulted my book. You think it's just an anointing? This mind has been taxed. There are many times I look at speeches, I recite them. There are many times I carry scriptures, I recite chapters. I'm not going to preach anywhere. I'm just developing my mind. Many times I close my eye and I begin to meditate on John. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by Him. Without Him was not anything made that was made. In Him was life. The life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness. The darkness comprehended it not. As a man sent from God whose name was John. The same came for a witness. It was not that light, but He came that through Him that men may believe. He came unto His own received Him not. As many as received Him, to them He gave power to become the sons of God. Sons born not by the will of the flesh, not the will of law, but of man. I keep reciting, not because I want to preach. I'm just developing my mind because I'm a preacher. No culture of hard work. We can't sweat. We are looking for shortcuts. And then we'll say we'll create change. If they make you a manager in ARIC today, what do you know? If they make you a commissioner now, what do you know? If they give you a business now, what do you know? Even the school where you are, if they make you a lecturer, can you teach 100 level? There is a wrong understanding. We make men useless and lazy because of impartations, and will not teach them the culture of hard work. The guy can talk from morning till night, but if he goes to class for 30 minutes, he wants to sleep. And then he comes home and says, "Oh boy, this fellow is you." Because he has already prepared his mind to cheat in the exam. If I catch you cheating, you'll be expelled. Because it will be the reason why many pregnant women will die during cesarean sessions. It will be the reason why many planes will crash. If I catch you cheating, there's no begging. You will be expelled. Go home and learn how to farm. At least for education, you are choosing the place of defeat. So go and learn farming. Maybe you will excel in farming. Corrupt world. When the lecturer becomes king, they say he's a wicked man. There is a culture of focus. Can you put your mind on one thing for 1 week? Everybody sitting here, can you leave this conference and set your mind on one thing for 1 week? without losing focus or getting it scattered. That's why many people in leadership, the moment they leave the university, they become nobodies. They don't know the pains of succeeding. A young generation distracted by everything. How many things can you set your affection on? And your fire, your emotion for that thing will burn for 1 week. Let's say your book, or let's say a particular thing you want to research on, and you say for 1 week I will study this thing until I master it. I won't even take it far. Can you take one song now, one song, and learn the lyrics and sing that song? Is there enough focus to just pick a song and say I like this song and understand the lyrics and be able to sing the song? We are so disoriented that nowadays people cannot even start anything and complete it. And we say we want to change our word. When you talk, we say the spirit realm, the government of the angelic realm. And there is a necessity for knowledge and mental power to change your world. It doesn't come by impartation. It comes by hard work. It comes by focus. It comes by diligence. Most of you will need to live here and tell yourself before the exam next week, I will master all my lecture notes. And tell your friends, thank you, I enjoy your company, but in the next 2 weeks I want to be alone. And then no matter how that thing pulls you to go and meet your friend, you will sit down and say, I will die here. Even if you are reading it and it's not entering your head, be reading it. And you will read all your lecture notes 10 times before the exam. And let's see how dull your brain is that you will not retain 50%. After reading your lecture notes 10 times, even if your name is dummy, if your brain doesn't retain 50%, come back and tell me I don't know what I'm saying. Who told you you are dumb? You are just not wise. So you are not redeeming the time because you don't know the days are evil. The first impartation God will bring to men tonight is to make them wise men. Wise men. Wise men that understand the times and the season. Men that understand the systems of this world have no regard for title. They have regard for innovations that are crystallized from the labor room of hard work, focus, consistency, and diligence. Wise men that know the courtesy of royalty. Wise men that understands the tenacity of innovation. Wise men that understands the diligence of leadership. Wise men that understand the technocracy of leadership and governance. There is a dimension of wisdom that must come upon people so that they will know what to do. They will know when to tell their friends to wait. They will know when to go off the internet. They will know when to lock the door behind them and put value in themselves. I was listening to Robert Leonard, and he said, my librarian told me I've read 14,000 books. I said, no wonder you are a good writer. There's no way you can read 14,000 books and you will not